Hello, my name is Manuela, and I'm a storyteller. I'm joining David Heathfield's and Haneen's invitation to tell a story I learned from a child in Gaza. I learned the story from Hala. Hala is a young girl, just turned 18, and she was looking for a story about peace. And when I talked to Hala, what she said really struck me, because she said that there were many stories that she could have told and that she even wanted to share about her experience over the past 6 months in her country in Palestine. But instead, she decided to save us the pain and give herself a welcome break from the anguish and heartache, from the hate, the fear, and the death and the destruction of war. And so she told this beautiful story that I'm going to try and tell you again. And this is how it goes. Once, not twice, and not 3 times, but once upon a time, there were 2 friends. And they were the best of friends. They were shepherds, and they loved each other so much that they did everything together. They went to school together. They played with the same friends. They went to the same sports clubs. And they even became shepherds together, learning from their fathers and grandfathers. You see, because these friends lived in the mountains, one on that side of the mountain and the other on the other side of the mountain. But that wasn't a problem for them. They used to take their flocks and share the same space, the same fields, because they were the best of friends. And I'm sure, dear listeners, you can think of one such friend. Now, one day, they were grazing with their flocks of sheep on the same hillside. It was a spring morning when one of the 2 friends, one of the shepherds, said, "Friend, you see that lamb following your flock? That lamb belongs to me." And the other shepherd looked at the lamb. "What are you talking about? If that lamb was yours, it would be following its mother. No, the lamb is mine." And the other friend started to get a bit upset and said, "No, you're wrong. The lamb is mine." And they started to argue and raise their voices, and the discussion got really heated. They almost hit each other. But fortunately, they turned their backs at that moment, and they stopped talking, and they stopped sharing the same field. They stopped meeting. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks passed, and they never spoke again. It was the end of a friendship. How sad. From that moment, no more greetings, nothing. They didn't even look at each other. What a pity. But life continued until one evening, as it grew dark, a stranger appeared. from the top of the hill. He was walking down towards one of the shepherd's houses. The stranger had a bag on his back. The shepherd looked and thought, he looks like a carpenter. "Hey, you," he said. "Come, I have a job for you." The carpenter didn't reply. The carpenter did not speak, but he approached the shepherd. And the shepherd approached the carpenter and said, "I need your help. You see that house over there?" "Yes, right over there." "I want you to build me a strong, tall fence so that no man can see over it, between my house, this house, and that house over there. Can you do that for me? A big fence, a tall fence so no man can see over it, a thick fence so that no sheep can jump through it, and a very strong fence so no wind will blow it down." The carpenter did not speak, but he took off his bag, put it down, and took out his hammer and a saw, and set off to work. The shepherd was impressed. The shepherd went inside and had some dinner, and as it was getting late, he went to bed. But he had a very sleepless night. The shepherd couldn't sleep because of the hammering and the sewing and the hammering and sewing and hammering of the carpenter. And he hammered all through the night and all through the early morning. He hammered away and sewed away, and the banging and the clattering didn't allow the poor shepherd to sleep. The sun started to shine. It was a bright spring morning again. And the shepherd went downstairs for his breakfast when there was a knock at the door. Rat-a-tat-tat. It was the carpenter, and he had his bag on his back. And the shepherd said, "What? Have you finished already?" But the carpenter did not speak and just started walking back up the hill. The shepherd, curious to see the fence, opened the door, walked out in the beautiful sunny day, and there, in front of his eyes, he saw the most beautifully constructed bridge. The carpenter had built a bridge, but I asked him a fence. The shepherd couldn't understand, but at that very moment, at the other side of the bridge, was his friend, ex-friend, the other shepherd, running on the bridge and saying, "Friend, what a fantastic idea. Of course, no lamb, no sheep can keep us apart or break our friendship. Thank you for building this bridge." And he ran across the bridge, and so the other shepherd started walking on the bridge. They met in the middle of the bridge and they hugged. They gave each other the longest hug ever. The tears were rolling with joy. Oh, thank you for building this bridge. The other shepherd couldn't thank his friend enough for having had this idea. But the other shepherd turned. The carpenter, he was right up the hill. Hey, stop! You! I need to pay you. I haven't paid you. The carpenter turned, and for the first time, the carpenter spoke. I cannot stay. I must move on. I have many more bridges to build. My story, did I tell? In your heart, let it swell. Thank you for listening. I hope I did Hala justice in retelling her beautiful story. I remember when Hala told this story that towards the end, she talked about the story and the meaning and what it meant to her when she first heard it, and how this story filled her with hope when she first heard it. And she ended with a beautiful quote from the poet Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. And he wrote, "If we could read the secret history of our enemies, we would find in each man's sorrow and suffering enough to disarm all hostility." And I thought that's a beautiful message to give, coming from a girl who's experiencing this horrific war in Gaza. All my love goes to Hala and all the Gazan students and children out there. Love and prayers, inshallah. Bye-bye.